Hi everyone, it's Hannah from Wild and Growing, once again back to share with you how my Montessori education is going so far. So if you haven't watched a video about me signing up for a Montessori teaching certification, I will link that above so that you can watch that first. I am about a few days away from my first assignment submission, and the assignments are 12 weeks long. And there are 3 assignments. So I've been working on this for a very, very long time, and I wanted to show you all what I've learned so far and the progress that I've made. So part 1 of the assignment was going over this Montessori classroom guide, and the classroom guide pretty much just went over an introduction to Montessori learning and what students in the early elementary program learn while at a Montessori program. And it's just general basics. It was pretty long, and this actually took me the longest to complete. And the assignment that we have to do is a bunch of questions that it's kind of like guided reading. So you're reading the books and then you're answering the questions that most of the time are super easy to answer. They're right in the guides for you to find. But sometimes they do challenge you to think of your own ideas and to create news articles and opinion pieces and stuff like that. So it can be easy, but it also can be really challenging. Second binder that I went over was this one, the 5 Great Lessons for Cosmic Education and Peace. And this one was actually really interesting because in early elementary programs in Montessori, the teachers talk about the 5 great lessons. And so the 5 great lessons are basically the origin story for the universe, the earth, the plants and animals that live on the earth now, humans, and how they developed writing and numbers. So basically at the beginning of every school year, it's usually year 1, but then older students get to be invited back so they can hear the stories again and again. They tell this dramatic retelling of the origin of the planet. So it begins with the Big Bang and the universe expanded and created these planets and solar systems and galaxies. 2 is the Earth and how it created plants and animals. And it goes from the very first life forms on Earth, which is bacteria and single-celled organisms, to the fish and different types of organisms that are in the oceans, to the first land mammal, then to dinosaurs and reptiles and amphibians. And it also talks about the primitive forms of ferns and other types of plants and insects. That one was the most interesting to me because I love learning about that. And then the great lesson number 3 is about human development and how humans became so prominent on the earth. So it talks about early primitive forms of humans and how they evolved, and then it talks about the different tools that they had to use to survive and how they were hunters and gatherers and all the great inventions that we have had to come up with over the time that we have evolved. The 4th great lesson is invention of writing, physically writing, not language, and how so many different cultures and communities came up with their own form of writing and how they had to branch all those together to communicate with each other and to form societies. The 5th great lesson was the invention of numbers, which is practically another language. So this binder not only talks about the 5 great lessons, but it also talks about cosmic education and peace. What cosmic education is basically there's 4 steps to being a good community member. You have to be self-aware, you have to have cultural awareness, you need to have environmental awareness, and you have to have community awareness, which basically means you know how to solve conflicts with each other and are a good community member. So cosmic education is not really a lesson that is taught, but it is a concept that is taught throughout all years and programs at Montessori. So the last binder in this section assignment is the language arts binder. And so this one is really long. It goes over all the concepts that you learn, in 1st to 3rd grade, nouns, parts of speech, conjunctions, adjectives, adverbs, all that stuff. It's a really great review because I personally am not very good at grammar. I don't really like language arts. I was a science nerd, not an English nerd. And so I would not be very comfortable teaching this stuff to children if I didn't have this guide. This guide's very thorough and it tells you a lot and it breaks things down. It's really interesting how Montessori students learn language arts. They have symbols for everything and they break everything down into very concrete easy, simple steps, and then each step builds on another step, and you learned a lot through that. I think I would have benefited from Montessori learning because I do like things broken down into such simple steps. So as I said, I had 12 weeks to complete this first assignment, and because I, as a student, always procrastinate, I procrastinated until my seasonal job was over in the first week of November. And then I continued to procrastinate because now it was this overwhelming thing that I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna finish. And I was just so overwhelmed, I was like, I'm not even gonna touch it. So my solution to this, because I do have to get it done, I'm paying a lot of money for this, I broke everything down in the number of days I had until the assignment was due and the number of sections that I had to complete. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in my binder that I kept track of everything. And what this did was it basically broke everything down into a to-do list so that I could clearly see what I had to get done on each day, and I could cross it off the list and feel satisfied that I crossed it off the list. Now, I still kind of procrastinated with this because, you know, some days I was busy, some days I had to do other things, I didn't feel like doing this, so I would skip days, but I could always see what had to be completed and when it had to be completed so that I submitted this assignment on time. So my assignment is due on December 11th. It is currently December 4th, I believe, and so I've got 7 more days. I've got 2 more sections that I have to complete, and then I have a couple of review days to review all my work and make sure I didn't skip any questions and that my wording and stuff is correct and good enough to turn in and get graded on. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my video. I will see you all in 2 days. There are 2 more sections of my Montessori course, so I'm sure you'll see at least 2 more videos recapping everything that I've learned so far and what my thoughts are. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching and see you next time.